Alright, what's good YouTube boys, and we back again once again on the channel for y'all. Today we got another video going over Fairy Tail arcs in this guy's honest opinion. Today we got the Galuna Island arc. And honestly, I think Galuna Island is a great arc. No bullshit. Right, obviously I don't think it's ever gonna be the best arc, but I think it's a solid arc for where we were at in the story. So if you have anything really bad to say about it, I'm gonna hear him out. Okay, I'm gonna hear him out. And then, if it's stupid, or just doesn't make sense, or not exactly how it was written, or whatever, you know what I mean? If it's something that doesn't click with me, then we get to jumping. But other than that, let's get going.
Ending theme, and honestly is a huge improvement over the Lullaby arc, but I figured we could save that until after we talk about it. So, without further ado, let's move on to... What do you mean it's called the Sub-Zero Emperor Leon arc? Man, why does everyone say this one is bad? I mean, it ends terribly with multiple cop-outs and dramatic
I don't think so.
balls,
I think it makes
dude,
sense.
It's fun. Chill out. After I run in with Loxus, the strongest fairy tale wizard... Yeah, no, this is anime canon for now, before Guild Wars. Anyway, Natsu aims to prove himself by stealing an S-class quest that he's not authorized to partake in. He, of course, drags Lucy along, and Gray gets brought on board too after being the first to try and bring them back to the guild to be punished, with Erza following close behind. On the supposedly cursed island of Galuna, the 3+ happy discover that every night the moon turns purple and the temple on the island glows with that same brilliant light. Upon investigation, they find out a trio of revelations. The purple moonlight is part of a magical ritual called Moon Drip, that the Moon Drip is aiming to revive a super demon from Gray's past named Deliora, and that the perpetrator is a band led by Gray's former friend / rival, Leon Vastia. Yep, it's a Gray-centric arc, and I think that's great, because he's been easily the most flat character thus far. After several battles and the arrival of Erza, Gray reveals his history with the group, being that he was the protege of a powerful ice make wizard named after he was found by her and Leon.
I gotta read that. Hold on, go back. I gotta read that.
Make wizard named
There's no relation to the submarinian city / state to the same name. Oh. Also, not related to Book of Genesis. She's a hot bitch in a bikini in the snow, and that's funny. Chill out.
After he was found by her and Leon when his hometown...
You know, I low-key thought he was gonna have a problem with that, because, you know, I feel like some people would have an issue with older person hanging out with kids in their bikini out in the snow to train him how to use ice magic, but you know, I guess people just don't understand it's an anime sometimes. So I'm glad he didn't, you know, go too far into that. So let's go.
Destroyed by Deliora. Gray trained under her to learn magic powerful enough to exact revenge on the demon, but when he tried, he found that he was no match, and had to come save him. In the end, to save her 2 pupils, she cast the forbidden and extremely powerful iced shell, which turned her very essence into ice strong enough to contain the beast, effectively killing her. Leon, who was obsessed with becoming more powerful than decided that to prove that he had done so, he would free Deliora and defeat it himself, aided by other survivors of Deliora bent on revenge. This backstory is portrayed in its entirety during episode 15.
Look, with that summary, that little abridged summary, no hate to the summary, but like, it's pretty much what happened. With that, this sounds like a good arc. You know what I'm saying? It's a good arc. It takes away from the central plot. Like, Natsu's not gonna be the main character of this arc. We get some backstory with Gray. The villain has an actual good motive that he thinks is good because he wants to surpass someone who's dead. And how do you do that? You can do something that they weren't able to do. So he thinks in his mind that releasing his demon is good because he's gonna beat it. See, villains are good when they believe themselves the things that they're doing is for the good. You know, you could have unhinged maniacs time and time again, but they have to have the type of, you know, logical sense and morality and makes, you know, crazy chaos, not like the Joker. People like the Joker. Does he have a real reason to doing all the shit he does? Hell no. He just does it because he wants to. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Eternal magic, and I consider it to be the best episode in the series thus far. Does it rely on base emotions? Is it extremely idealistically shallow? Is it stupid shonen trash? Absolutely to all three of those.
How?
However, while Ur's connection with her students is given only the bare minimum of depth, with any that is there being portrayed through exposition instead of any of the other more elegant ways to convey her care for them, that connection is nonetheless understood and easily sympathized with. Gray's childish rejection of her ways and obsession with revenge leading to her death is an excellent device to propel his character forward, as he's suddenly forced to confront his mistake to correct that of his friend Leon. And the last scene of the episode where he confronts Leon and threatens him by casting Ice Shell on himself was fantastic. While I think this sacrifice should have been saved for when Deliora was revived, my hot take is that Gray should have went through with casting the spell and sacrificing himself. And hear me out on that. Throughout the vast majority of the rest of the show, until the Tartarus arc, like 250 episodes after this, Gray doesn't really get much that's interesting. My opinion is that Leon should have taken his place as Fairy Tail's Ice Make Wizard, as he could have had a satisfying character arc of overcoming his own flaws and insecurities while trying to live up to the bravery he never acknowledged Gray as having. He could still fulfill the role he plays in relation to Ultier's heel face turn in the Tenro Island arc, and there's nothing saying that you can't revive Gray later on, say for like the Grand Magic Games or something, which would retain his ability to have a character come Tartaros when that guy appear. I don't know, I read some stuff. I didn't really pay attention. Anyway, this sacrifice would have given Natsu some much needed character development, and led very well into his actions in the Tower of Heaven arc, where he adamantly refuses to allow Urza to die and literally breaks past his limits to do so. That could have been made much more powerful by Natsu hating himself for being too weak to save Gray here. That said, this is where I hate Natsu the most in—
What? Bro, what are we on about? See, this is what I was talking about in the intro, bro. Like, I think Natsu stepping in to save his fucking childhood friend that he's known his whole fucking life from offing himself just to get away from a problem is not okay. And he steps in and stops, and that's good. That's a good thing. That's what friends should do. You shouldn't be trying to off yourself at the first opportunity, bro. At least fight the nigga, beat the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Don't just fucking off yourself. What the hell? Come on, man. I feel like this was good because without Natsu, yes, Gray would have done it. Gray would have just done it for no reason. I don't think there was ever a reason for him to use Ice Shell on Leon or even Deliora. Considering if it was that major of a threat, they could at least, I don't know, find a way to escape. Either way, him using it on Leon would have been stupid. And Natsu stepping in saved the nigga's life. And whole point of Natsu's character is it's kind of like Luffy. Like how Luffy doesn't like to see other people's dreams get crushed unless it's the same dream as him. Natsu doesn't like people being mistreated and doesn't like people, you know, not believing in themselves and doing things. If Gray was going to just off himself right then and there, it would have just been stupid. Because, like, Gray even said after attempting to use it that the people would have just came and melted his ice anyway, and then he'd be dead. He'd be dead for no reason. There's no point in offing yourself. I feel like if you have, like, there's in any situation in the world, I don't think there's any reason to off yourself. And I'm not talking about depression. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about like real life. Any situation you can ever think of, there's no real reason for you to off yourself. Because guess what? If you're in that position where you think that, it can always get better. You're at the bottom. You can always get back up, bro. You can always get back up. Fix your life or fix the situation you're in. Or just buy your time. You know what I'm saying? Things will always get better. And guess what? How I don't be all sad and shit. Look, we're getting off topic now. See, I do this shit where I yap a lot. I'm sorry. Natsu being here to stop Gray, I think was great. Him saying that Gray should just off himself and then Leon replaces Gray, I feel like that's just no. Obviously, I probably have some bias because, you know, Gray is the group member and Leon's just a random. I just don't like that.
This first chunk of the series,
Leon couldn't ever replace Gray. Let's put it like that.
He prevents Gray from making the noble decision by punching him in the face and spouts off platitudes about dying not setting anything right. But, bro, I get—
It doesn't. What is dying gonna help here?
Wasting it on Leon was dumb, but for Deliora? Yeah, so despite Gray defeating Leon, Deliora is indeed released again. Natsu, like an idiot, prevents Gray from casting Iced Shell and punches Deliora, revealing that ice drained away all of the demon's life force, and it was basically dead already. I don't like that. It's another cop-out.
Why?
That makes demons in this world feel like a huge joke. Especially given their significance with Tartaros, which many say is the show's best arc, and their relation to one of the series' end big bads, Zeref. The demons in this world should have had massive and irreversible effects on the narrative. But
nigga, he was sealed away by one of the strongest wizards in this continent that were also deemed as an honorary member of the 10 Wizard Saints. So essentially, with that being said, she's on the same level, close to, at least relative to characters like Makarov, Jura, Jalal, characters like that. You know? So, for her to use a spell that's been casted on someone, and it's ice, my nigga. You think you're gonna wake up from an ice bath and be all ready to go? No, you're gonna get cooked. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was fine. You could say it's a cop out, but like, let's be fair here. Let's be fair here, right? Let's say he wasn't weakened and he was at full strength. They're dead, and in the series, that's what I'm saying, bro. Think about you having to write a story, bro. This is where I come from, bro, because I've been writing a little story myself. Like, how stupid would it be that, let's just say, oh yeah, Deliora just has all his power, and yeah, he literally, that's the end. Because guess what? If it's not the end, then they have to pull some dumbass bullshit to get out, and people wouldn't like that either. So I think him being weakened over the years is fine. I don't have a problem with this.
Both Lullaby and Deliora.
The demons being weak, though, I think is more of, these are just like early villains, obviously, but like, you gotta think about Zeref as a whole. Zeref made these demons to attempt to kill him, which means that he made multiple demons. He made a shit ton of demons, demon weapon, like dark weapons, dark item. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of items to attempt to kill him. The lullaby flute, for example, on the screen was a melody of death. Anyone who heard it was cooked. And like he said in the last video, wouldn't the person who used it would die? Yes. Essentially, yes. Because guess what? Zeref probably tried to use it on himself. Deliora, a really strong-ass demon. Probably one of the early demons that Zeref made. And it wasn't able to kill them. So, I mean, like, come on.
So
I don't have a problem with these demons.
Not that.
I don't have a problem with demons. And let's be honest, like I said, Deliora, for all intents and purposes, at his full strength, was stronger than a person who was deemed an honorary member of the 10 Wizard Saints. He was stronger than her. She just literally said, I was not ever going to beat this guy. At least protecting Leon and Gray.
Is super flat and drawn out. After the main dramatic battle between Gray and Leon, you still have 2 full episodes to get through where we have to resolve the weakest part of the arc, which is the original draw of the S-Class quest. The villagers on Galuna Island who
says some nonsense.
Quest want to be human after being turned into demons by the moon drip. The resolution that Urza figures out based on information that we don't care about because magic in this world is whatever Mashima wants it to be, is that the moon drip didn't change the humans into demons, but affected these demons' memories to make them believe that they were originally human. Then they all just forgive Leon and his lackeys because, well, they were hurt by Deliora and they were doing what they thought was right, which...
I mean, they technically didn't even do nothing to the villagers. I mean, yes, they attacked the village when Fairy Tail got there, but according to Leonin, they'd never spoken or attempted to talk to the villagers, ever. So... I don't see them at, like, I wouldn't, it's not like they fucking went in there and bullied them and forced them to pay all their money to them or anything like that, you know, like, I feel like it was fine for them to forgive them.
For some reason means they shouldn't be punished for hurting the lives of these innocent people for 3 whole years.
Again, like I just said, they did never spoken to the villagers until Fairy Tail got there. They never messed with them.
Again, I don't like this at all.
Because if that was the case, he'd be dead.
And Fairy Tail uses this particular trope a lot, of the heroes forgiving the villains and then them returning later. And in most cases, it's not as egregious as this. In other instances, such as the case
This is egregious?
Loxus or Gajeel, we understand that there are ramifications in the sense of self-imposed exile or a willingness to repent for the sins they've committed. Whereas that isn't really implied here, other than Leon kind of quietly musing about what it would be like to be in a guild. Fairy Tail is a show that's...
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Things like that, those are direct impulses and attacks and behavior not acceptable within Fairy Tail. On Galuna Island, like I just said, Leon and his group never interacted with this village ever until Fairy Tail came there. So, them being forgiven by them is fine. Yes, they attacked them once with a jelly, but no one died, and their village even got repaired by, they think, the lackeys. So, I think them being friends with them here is fine. And even then, Leon, yes, he attempted to bring out a demon, but it's not like he was just going off killing people, you know. Oh, fuck this person, kill this village, kill this person's mom in front of him. He wasn't doing any of that. You know, he was just trying to get revenge. And it wasn't on some type of Scorpion type shit, you know, fatality and shit. No, it was dead, like, he deadass wasn't trying to do it. He was just trying to fight the demon dude.
Made for young people, adolescents ages.
I don't think them forgiving them here is bad.
Evil actions shouldn't be punished if they're done for the right reason isn't a good message.
I want to read the comments on this.
There are certainly nuances to be argued for when it comes to situations like this. Say if reviving Deliora would have had a direct positive impact somehow, but the Fairy Tail property isn't mature enough to tackle these kinds of questions. I'm sorry, but it isn't.
What?
So as not to end our discussion of this arc on a negative note, because I did like it for the most part, I actually like how clever Natsu is here. More so than later on when he becomes a bit flanderized, we see him make some pretty intelligent decisions here, such as coming up with a quick plan to save the villagers when the rat drops poison on them, or interrupting the moon drip by breaking the supports on one side of the temple, making it lean and break the direct line down to Deliora that the moon drip needs. Natsu, in general, isn't as dumb as someone like Goku in Dragon Ball. Okay, well, he is, but it's a matter of actively retaining his own ignorance because learning stuff is boring, as opposed to being completely unaware of the world outside of fighting, like in Goku's case. However, though Goku does have a long, drawn-out, but ultimately poignant character arc all the way through to the Cell games in Z of learning about the world and seeing from other people's perspectives, Natsu doesn't really develop. In fact, no character ever truly develops as an individual in this show, even if their circumstances change from time to time. The only identifiable difference in character from anyone is whenever a villain turns good, where they become slightly less abrasive versions of the people they already were, such as in the cases of Leon, Gajeel, and Loxus. Of course, there is an exception to this, but we'll get to him later. For now, let's talk about Grey Fullbuster, which
again, I could say all this same shit for other anime. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole like Bleach, for example. I'm not going to use One Piece here, but One Piece is a great example. It's so much of an example that I'm so sick and tired of Usopp and being a fucking clown. You know what I'm saying? It's been how long since this nigga's done anything useful, and this is one of the OG Straw Hats, and he's still ass. You know. At least Nami could at least fight like a weak person by themselves. I have no faith in Usopp winning a 1v1. I really don't. But for example, Bleach, Rukia. Does Rukia act any different than she did after she got rescued from Soul Society? I don't think so. Does Orihime act any different than she did when she got abducted by the Arancars? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Does Ichigo act any different after getting his powers taken away? I don't think so. You know, there's some emotional beats there, but they don't fucking change the whole character, you know? I think a great example of this is a character like, I know I'm probably an anime character, y'all probably don't know, Jaden Yuki from Yu-Gi-Oh! In Season 3, from 1 to 3, he was the most go-lucky, happy kid ever, bro. And then towards the end of Season 3, he started to get dark, because every duel he was in was literally, if I lose this duel, all my friends die. So it became less of a game and more of survival. And when it came to Season 4, he didn't want to duel. He wanted to be left alone. He wanted to be, you know, away because most of the threats happened because of him. And he's like, oh, my friend's this, my friend's that. I'm just going to stay away from them. And guess what? Threats came up, and he's the first one ready to go. He is so much of a change in character that his friends are literally saying him, "Hey, bro, you've changed so fucking much. You're not the person I met when we first came to school. You're a completely different person, bro." And he's like, "Bro, what the hell? I just won this duel though. You didn't see the OTK though, bro." So yeah, I don't think characters change drastically like that, especially after some events. So I don't know. I feel like that's just a dumb argument to keep happening about anime, especially animes like this where there's hundreds of characters and so hard to keep track of all of them and their quirks and shit. But let's keep going.
Is still a tasty morsel. It's a dick. Gray is the rival character that you see in a lot of anime, not just shonen. The show absolutely fucking insults us in the first arc by saying that Urza, one of the smarter characters in the series, never thought that his and Natsu's polar opposite magic of ice and fire had anything to do with said rivalry, but yes, they do in fact have polar opposite magics. I find maker magic, as it's called, very frustrating because the possibilities for it are literally limitless.
Literally.
It's handled a lot like the Green Lantern rings in every story that doesn't focus on Green Lantern. They can make neat sculptures, but they just tend to get smashed by the villains. It's used arguably most creatively here in the Galuna Island arc, where you have the distinction between Gray and Leon's ice make magic, both in that Gray uses 2 hands and Leon uses 1, which is established as affecting the stability and strength of the constructs made, but also that Gray can only make inanimate objects, while Leon specializes in creating quote-unquote living creatures with his ice. That said, Gray is a consistently enjoyable character at the very least. While he is immature when interacting with Natsu, when allowed to be left to his own devices, he tends to be more level-headed and in control of a given situation, which is a refreshing change of pace from most of the other members of Fairy Tail that we focused on throughout the series, like Natsu, Lucy, Elfman, Mary Jane, Kana, etc. Where Gray fails is as a viable rival character. The point of them, in relation to the main character anyway, is that they always need to be one step ahead of the protagonist, or there needs to be a very good reason for that not to be the case. This is your Gary Oak from Pokemon, Sasuke in Naruto, Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, or even someone like Colonel Mustang in Fullmetal Alchemist. Without fail, these characters are consistently compared to the main character, have a competitive streak with said main character, and are consistently portrayed as more skilled and or more talented than the main character, to serve as a goal for them to strive for. For all of Sasuke's many problems, he does serve this purpose extremely well in relation to Naruto, while also pulling off the same angsty care for his friend that Gray has towards Natsu's safety, which is why I consider him a far superior rival archetype character than Gray here. So then, Gray's role could serve one of 2 purposes that Sasuke plays both of, the angsty friend or the heated rival. To have the former, you've gotta have a moment on the level of Sasuke saving Naruto from Haku in the Land of Waves. It's shocking, it's a powerful character moment for both of the boys, and is the way to propel the dramatic stakes as high as they could possibly be for the climax of the first arc. Gray never gets a moment like that in all of Fairy Tail when it comes to his relationship with Natsu. I'm not saying that he should jump in front of an attack for the guy, I'm not asking for an identical scene, but I need more than just a half-hearted "be careful" before they split up in the Lullaby arc, which is tantamount to nothing, and then that's supposed to sell us on their hidden bond with each other. For the latter possibility, I'm just gonna say it, Ice Make is way too weak of a power to add.
With that, well, he just said a whole like dudes riding and stuff. I understand like your rival character needs to have like something to keep the other main character going, but I'm not gonna give you all my whole. Never mind. I was gonna say something about like the whole guild and shit, but like Natsu and Gray have known each other for their whole fucking lives, and obviously you could probably sit here and be like, "Oh, well, so did Naruto and Sasuke." Did they really though? No, they did not. They may have seen each other, and these stupid backstories may make you believe that they known each other since they were fucking little ass kids, but truthfully, I don't think so. And like these two literally have known each other since they were like 5 years old. It's not even a joke, man. And they've always been trying to push past each other and do better. Obviously, it doesn't show that because this isn't that type of anime. But I don't know. You know what? I'll give you that one.
ever consider competing with Fire Dragon Slayer magic like Natsu's. Now, I get the whole opposite thing, but water would do better in my opinion because fire just melts ice and that's the end of the interaction in nature. Not to mention, Ice Make is limited in the sheer power seen in Natsu's magic. There's no equivalent to the super moves that Natsu uses to end arcs. No enhanced states like Dragon Force later on. Hell, Mashima had to make Gray another type of Slayer wizard to have him be even comparable in the Tartaros arc. So
what was I gonna say?
Even he recognized this problem. The idea of Gray being any kind of true rival to Natsu is laughable at best, especially considering Urza is already a better rival by being stronger than Natsu and a goal to reach toward. And in the very next arc, we get Gajiel, so we have a Slayer that has a rivalry with Natsu right there. This is why I say that Gray should have just axed himself here. Leon would have had a lot more potential for growth and interesting development in a redemption arc than Gray ever gets on his own. All he ever receives is the token effort of being able to beat one or two of the C-list villains of any given arc, like, oh, he can beat one of the Element 4, but he never gets to touch Gajiel. He gets to beat the bird guy that Natsu got eaten by due to carelessness, while Natsu gets to beat Jalal, who is one of the 10 strongest wizards on the continent. Hell.
Okay, let's talk about Sanji, you know? Let's talk about Piccolo. You know? Same characters, you know, just, you know, they're right there. They're right there backing up the main character. You know, you don't see them do shit against the main nigga. You know what I'm saying? They may have a cool ass fight with one of the side niggas, but they never fighting the main nigga. You know what I'm saying? You don't see fucking Sanji up there on rooftop. You don't see him up there. You don't see him doing none of that shit. You don't see him injuring Kaido. You know, making Kaido, you know, look at his top 5 again. You know what I'm saying? You don't see him doing that shit. You don't see Piccolo out here fighting Frieza like that. You don't see him doing that. Nah, you didn't see Piccolo fighting Jiren at all. Did you see that? I didn't see that. You know, every character doesn't need to fight the main character, the main villain, and every character doesn't need to have a fucking overpowered busted ability. You know, I feel like the power, like, obviously, yes, it's cool to have a cool, flashy, you know, moves and shit, but like, Maker Magic is pretty solid magic. You can literally make anything you need for the current situation that you're in. Yes, it's ice, but that comes with you becoming a stronger mage to tank attacks. He's talking about ice versus fire. If you're way more stronger than your opponent, your elemental disadvantage won't matter. You know what I'm saying? If you're that much stronger than them, if you're on equal footing, it shouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's fine. So let's keep going. I need to stop talking because right now I have 30 minutes.
A gigantic fucking dragon mecha.
Is Gray the Dragon Slayer here? Or is Natsu?
Gray gets to have a tug of war match over a key. What a great and worthwhile character. Before we close out, I do want to save this chunk's opening for the next arc, as its visuals tie into it instead of the Galuna Island arc. So instead, let's talk about the ending, Suioku Merry-Go-Round, or In Memory of Merry-Go-Round by One Life Crew. Dude, it's just a bop.
I don't really listen to the
lyrics
endings.
Are about losing someone in a bitter separation and dreaming of them, only to wake up with the morning sun and having them disappear in a silhouette once again, adding to the already sort of melancholic feeling to the tune. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of like the happy-centric visuals, but hey, we do have our wheel, and the other characters do come in eventually. So, you know, not bad. Truthfully, and I don't think this is a hot take at all, this is one of my favorite endings in the entire show. I think beaten only by ending number 10, which is an even better bop in my opinion. But
I think mine's like 16.
Overall,
it's one of the
it was a fun time. It has good
Tenru Island art
for Gray. It provides more world building with the introduction of another demon created by Zeref in the form of Deliora, and for all of its faults, was a consistently enjoyable watch throughout. So I really can't complain too much here. So
yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video too. Yeah, I accidentally talked a lot. You know, I could have made a whole separate video off this. But, yeah, I think some of the points he made were just not really that good of options to do. Like, making Leon a replacement for Gray, I feel like that was just a really out there and crazy take to have on that. Saying that the Deliora stuff was a cop-out was kind of crazy. The demons being weak I'll give you that being true to it to a certain extent. But you gotta think about it. Zera's been alive for how fucking long? And these demons been alive for how long? They probably also got week or two. So hey. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all have a nice day.